SD Sports Buzz tonight. Here's Nate Brown.
Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back into South Dakota's live and local sports radio program. If it's Wednesday night, it's SD Sports Buzz tonight, middle of the week, and trying to get you ready to go. And the latter half of that week, get you geared up, get you ready, and juiced up for the weekend of football to come. And that's our plan here tonight. Usually it is all football season long. That's really our plan, to just dive in, tackle the biggest sports newsmakers in South Dakota sports, and get you ready for the upcoming weekend of football. That's the talk of the town right now. As we all know, the NFL season gets kicked off tomorrow night with your Denver Broncos taking on Carolina. By the way, the Broncos, an underdog, the Super Bowl champions, underdogs right out of the gate tomorrow night. Probably because of their quarterback situation. Just a guess. I welcome you into SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City, here on 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and 1150 AM, and also live online. You can watch the program streaming in our brand new streaming platform at sdsportsbuzz.com. So I welcome you in wherever you may be listening or watching the program online. Busy show tonight and locked in on football. Here we go. Rushmore Bowl, Friday night at O'Hara Stadium in Rapid City. Two great games. We look forward to it. It's always a great event overall. It's so important for Rapid City Central and Rapid City Stevens. It's not just athletics, by the way. That's a great venue. Athletics provides the vehicle there, but it's really important for the Stevens and Central activities. All activities benefit system-wide from the Rushmore Bowl. They've been doing this for a long time, and I've been a part of it for a long time as well, covering some great Rushmore Bowl games back in the day. So on tap Friday night, Rapid City Stevens plays host to Aberdeen Central. That's the first game at 5. And then Rapid City Central will take on Spearfish in the second game, approximately 8 p.m. So we'll talk to both coaches here tonight. Scott Hagan at Rapid City Stevens, get a preview of that matchup as the Raiders are now 1-1. Also Rob Sales tonight, Central head coach. And I'm talking to people over the weekend about their game against Aberdeen. They lose by 6. The Cobblers lost by 6 to Aberdeen Central, 18-12. And they've just been so close there. It seems like they're right there. They're just not quite knowing how to finish the games, how to win those games. A team that has lost as they did, namely last year, just can't quite get over the top. That's where it seems like they're at. And they've got an opportunity against a Spearfish team who, by the way, hasn't had the strongest schedule at this point through the first 2 weeks. Spearfish 2-0. That's also a team that was struggling the past couple of years. That'll be an interesting one to watch. We'll talk to Rob Sales, head coach for the Cobblers. I really feel like they're on the verge of getting that first win and getting off the schneid there. I think they will coming up. We'll talk about it straight ahead. Also tonight, Hot Springs and St. Thomas More preview. That'll be a big one this week. Absolutely huge game. I said it in the earlier part of this program as we started our coverage of the 2016 season that Hot Springs was the team to watch in the Black Hills Conference that may give St. Thomas More a little bit of trouble. I don't think really anyone else will give them too much trouble. St. Thomas More is so good again this year. They went out east and got a win over Aberdeen Roncalli pretty easily, 28-6 after they got down early there. But Hot Springs is a team that has looked pretty darn impressive. They really have. And I think Ben Kramer, who's done a nice job down there, might mix it up a little bit coming up on Friday as they play St. Thomas More. So we'll preview that one with Ben Kramer, head coach of Hot Springs, and Wayne Sullivan, head coach at St. Thomas More. One of the best teams in South Dakota, you could say maybe the best, is Sioux Falls Roosevelt. They're coached by a former Rapid City guy, was over at Central for a while, Kim Nelson. Now the head coach at Sioux Falls Roosevelt. They seem like the favorite early on here. We'll talk to Kim Nelson. Always enjoy getting him on the program, not only for that Sioux Falls perspective, but he was former Rapid City Central coach as well. Kim Nelson coming on tonight. And finally, we'll go to the college football ranks. Speaking of points, I'm telling you, and an impressive way to start, South Dakota Mines puts up 64 points in their home opener this past Saturday. And I've said it here on the show before, folks. If you haven't seen the Hard Rockers play in a while, this isn't your dad's South Dakota Mines football team. This isn't your grandpa's South Dakota Mines football team. The high pace offense that they run is something to see. They're running, and it goes to show you kind of the culture change, the scheme change in college football from the top to the bottom, actually, is more offense, more plays, more high-powered systems, and that's where South Dakota Mines is falling in there, running so many plays throughout the game. They score 64 points. Jake Sullivan, the Rapid City product, starting at quarterback for the Hard Rockers, he accounts for 6 touchdowns himself. Jake Sullivan will join us tonight, the quarterback for the Hard Rockers, as they get an opening win, 64-41 over William Jewell. And Zach Tinker, head coach of the Hard Rockers, also on tap moments away. South Dakota Mines kicks off their debut game in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference on the road this weekend down in St. George, Utah, taking on Dixie State, who's also 1-0. We'll get a preview. Busy show tonight. Let's get it started with our opening buzz, and I always do this as the high school football season gets cranking. I always pick out the biggest games and make Brown's best picks. Brown's best, 4 games on tap tonight. I'll give you my prediction, and then you can hold me to it. That's how we do it. Throughout the season, I'll make my picks. We'll see how it turns out on the high school football scene. I start with the Rushmore Bowl, those 2 big games. I keep an eye. I look at that first game, Stevens, Aberdeen Central. This is a tough one for me. Aberdeen Central squeaks by the Cobblers last week, and Aberdeen was at home. They win by 6. I think Rapid City Central is a lot better than they were last year. They didn't win a game last year. I think they're a lot better than that. So I look at this matchup, and I also could make an argument that I think Stevens is better this year than last year, and that's why I'll give Stevens the edge. I think the Raiders are going to beat Aberdeen Central on Friday. I think one of the big differences is the Raiders get them at home. They get them at O'Hara Stadium. They get them here in Rapid City, not having to make the long trip out there like Rapid City Central had to do. So I look at that matchup. That's going to be a tight game. I really believe that. I really do. But I think the Raiders will hang on and win that one by a touchdown. I'll take Stevens over Aberdeen Central by a touchdown. And by the way, both of those games you can hear live right here on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio. You can hear the Rushmore Bowl live right here with Brian Fisher on Friday night. So I take Stevens by a touchdown over Aberdeen Central, and the Raiders will be 2-1 to start the 2016 season. To the second game, 8 o'clock start time approximately. Rapid City Central's 0-2. Spearfish is 2-0, but I will say it's the difference in the schedule, strength of schedule. Central has played Sioux Falls, O'Gorman, and Aberdeen Central. Spearfish just hasn't played the tough opponents that Rapid City Central has. When you take a look at it, Spearfish, yes, is 2-0. They beat Belfouche 40-0, Pine Ridge 53-0. So I think Spearfish is improved. I don't think they're improved enough. This is when I think Rapid City Central gets their win, the win they've been looking for since last season. Rob Sales will get one in the books. I think it will be closer than people think. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Keep an eye on it, though. Second game of the Rushmore Bowl, Rapid City Central, I think, beats Spearfish. I do think they get them by 8. I'll take Central by 8 over Spearfish, a team that both teams, I think, are improved. But the Cobblers, I think, time to get the win, and I think they're just that much better. And they're trying to avenge last season's loss to Spearfish. That was kind of a surprise, I think. And Central will get the win Friday night. I'm going to go out east and predict a game that everybody's looking at here. Madison is undefeated. They're playing West Central. Madison is playing West Central, and Madison has looked good, as you would expect. West Central bounces back after an opening game loss to Dakota Valley. West Central, a perennial powerhouse, they beat Canton just by 5. So this one may not be as hyped up as we thought, because Madison just took care of Dakota Valley 35-13. This is Madison beating Dakota Valley when Dakota Valley already had beaten West Central. So I think this rivalry is maybe not as big as it has been billed over the past couple of years. West Central is a team that has been at the top for a long time. They've now been replaced, and I think it's going to be pretty emphatic that Madison beats West Central by 2 touchdowns, I think. It's a tough one for me to call in a rivalry game like that, but I think Madison's that much better than West Central at this point in 11A football. So I will take Madison over West Central by 2 touchdowns, and then the game out here, West River, that everybody has their eye on, is Hot Springs and St. Thomas More. It's going to be played at Dutton Field. Over at St. Thomas More, the Cavaliers are 2-0. Hot Springs is 2-0 after a 20-6 win over Douglas. And as I've said, Hot Springs is competitive this year. They will be the second best team, I do believe, in the Black Hills Conference. They're going to compete early in that game, I think, against St. Thomas More. I don't think it's going to be a track meet right away and a runaway for St. Thomas More. I do not believe that. But ultimately, St. Thomas More has a great quarterback play. There's so much skill, speed in those skill positions. I will take St. Thomas More beating Hot Springs, I think, by 2 touchdowns at least. I don't think it'll turn into a huge blowout or anything, but I'll take them by 2 touchdowns plus St. Thomas More over Hot Springs. In a game that I think is pretty competitive early on, St. Thomas More will pull away with some speed, some big plays. There's my picks. Stevens over Aberdeen Central, Rapid City Central over Spearfish. Both of those games heard live here on Kim Radio on Friday night, the Rushmore Bowl. Madison handles West Central, I think, pretty easily. Keep your eye on that East River matchup. And then the Battle of Unbeatens in the Black Hills Conference, Hot Springs, St. Thomas More. Probably the closest game St. Thomas More is going to have from here on out, at least through the regular season. But I still think the Cavaliers win it by a couple of touchdowns. We'll talk to all the coaches on tap. First, we'll jump to the college ranks. Zach Tinker coming up. The Hard Rocker head football coach gets his first win of his head coaching career. We'll talk to Coach Tinker straight ahead of the Hard Rockers. But first, we'll go out to number 1 ranked head coach in 11 AAA football, the Sioux Falls Roosevelt head man, former Rapid City coach, Kim Nelson. He joins me live next. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown.
Looking for a winning team to follow this summer? Check out the Black Hills unbeatable tandem of Xerox and the color experts at Matheson's. Hit a home run with the Xerox Workcenter MFP today, and you'll be able to print, copy, and scan your crucial business documents and marketing materials just like the pros do. Matheson's cost per copy program is the safe play every time. You pay nothing up front for the equipment, and the high cost of supplies and repairs become a nightmare of the past. Visit the Matheson's team of Xerox All-Stars at 324 St. Joe Street, downtown Rapid City, or at Mathesons.com. Listen to what Pro Auto Care customers have to say.
I go to Tom because he's there for me. I have 7 vehicles on the road on a daily basis, and I know that if something goes on, he'll fix it. He'll fix it right the first time, and if we have an issue with a part, he'll stand by it. I mean, if we had a part fail that he installed, he'd get the new part and he would install it again, and I'd only pay for it once. Everybody that I know that needs work on their car, I say this is the only place I would go.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City.
Each South Dakota farmer operates differently, and that means that ag insurance should be as unique as every farmer in the field. Fisher Rounds & Associates gets to know you and your operation before we find a policy. That way, we can make sure you have the coverage you need. Contact Fisher Rounds & Associates and see what it means to have us at your service and at your side. Fisher Rounds & Associates, serving South Dakota farmers with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
Paying 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 250, want to get 250 here, no 75, 275, now 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
How would you like to have your crown in 2 hours instead of 2 visits? Hi, this is Dr. Eldon Rice with Rice Area Dental in Rapid City. Technology is changing, and at Rice Area Dental, we are keeping up by using the latest state-of-the-art equipment. We offer crowns in hours instead of days. No more temporaries, no more multiple visits, no messy dental impressions, just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
You're listening to SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
And welcome back to the program. Nate Brown on 106.7 FM Kim Talk Radio and streaming online at sdsportsbuzz.com. SD Sports Buzz Tonight presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. Busy show tonight. Straight ahead, we'll preview the Rushmore Bowl tonight. Rushmore Bowl Friday night at O'Hara Stadium. The Raiders at Rapid City Stevens take on Aberdeen Central, first game, and then the second game, Rapid City Central against Spearfish. We'll talk to the Cobbler head man and the Raider head man straight ahead. First, want to get into the 11 AAA ranks, and a lot of people think this is the team to beat, and they've been at the top for a while. Right in the thick of it always, it seems, is Sioux Falls Roosevelt. And their head coach is Kim Nelson, also coached out here in Rapid City. Joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for calling tonight. I appreciate it.
I want to ask you right away, what did you think when you saw your guy, Taryn Christian, throwing it and running it and lighting up TCU there for a while on Saturday? What did you think of that?
Well, obviously, I thought he must have had a great high school coach or something. No, I'm just kidding. They've done a great job with him in a short time. And Taryn's a special guy, special kind of person, special athlete. And I was really proud of him, and I really enjoyed the game. I texted him right afterwards to see how his ankle was doing. He said it was just a sprain, and we talked a little bit. He just said he had a great time. It was an awesome game and a great atmosphere, and I hope they can play in some more like that because he looked pretty good, and their offense looked pretty good, and they played really well against a very good football team. So I was really proud to say that one of my players was there playing. Two of my players actually were playing. Vinatieri kicked some field goals, so that was really fun for me to watch, and great to see how much progress those guys are making in college.
Well, I don't want to overhype it, but what do you think it says when guys like that? I mean, these were Sioux Falls Roosevelt players, and there's other South Dakota players on that team. Just that type of game, even though it didn't end up going the Jacks' way, very competitive. It got a lot of people's heads to turn as the game was going on. What does that say for high school players in South Dakota?
Well, I hope it says a lot to the college coaches around the country. You know, I told a lot of coaches back when Taryn was in high school that they need to take a hard look at him, and if they pass on him, they're making a mistake. And I've had some of those coaches come back to me and say, you were right, we made a mistake on him. We should have offered him when we had the chance. But he's happy where he is. I'm happy that he's there. He's a great representative of not just South Dakota State, but Sioux Falls and our high school and our program and South Dakota football. I just think it's a great thing to have somebody playing at that level and playing that well. And there's some other kids around from South Dakota that are playing. The family, the Barniaks from Washington, they're all over the country playing, and there's a lot of guys out there that are playing Division I football and doing very well from our part of the country. And I think it's something that hopefully will draw a little more attention to South Dakota and this area for recruiters.
Yeah, Kim Nelson joining us, head coach at number 1 ranked Sioux Falls Roosevelt. They get set for Sioux Falls Lincoln this week. He joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. When you look at 11 AAA, Coach, it's been just a couple of weeks here. When you look at 11 AAA, you guys are still one of those teams that everybody seems to be pointing to. How would you assess your first 2 weeks for your program?
Well, I thought the first game we played like it was the first game. I was really glad that, and pleasantly surprised at the way our defense played. Our defensive coaches, Jared Fredenberg and Mike Leach and Micah Nordine, Ross Peterson, all worked very hard in the spring and the summer and at camp to get these guys ready. And we had a very inexperienced group over there, but Very good athletes, very athletic group, and they played really well in the first two games. And that's been the difference for us. I mean, our first game against Aberdeen, we ran into a really good defensive team, and they maybe pushed us around a little bit, and we kind of got slapped in the face a little there, and we never really did control the ball offensively. We scored on some short drives that our defense set up for us, and so then we played O'Gorman the next week, and we played much better on both sides of the football. There was kind of a strong wind at Howard Wood, and we won the toss and got the wind early, and I think that made a big difference. We scored 21 in the first quarter because of the wind, partly, and not to say that our defense didn't play well, they really did. But, O'Gorman's trying to run some spread and throw it around a little bit, and 40-mile-an-hour wind in your face makes it a little tough to do that. So it was good. We got a break with a coin toss to start the game, and then our defense really played well. And when O'Gorman turned around and got the win, we just held them to one score, and that was a big deal. So, I just felt every part of our game was better the second week.
I want to get your take, and not that you're looking at every game that's going on, but you're keeping an eye on things. Stevens jumped out to a lead against Lincoln in week 1. They couldn't hold to it. Rapid City Central goes out to Aberdeen Central, team you're obviously familiar with there, playing them. And Rapid City Central almost gets the win there, just lost by 6 on the road. Is there strides being made, do you think, with Stevens and Central?
Well, I think so, and I certainly hope so. I think if they can keep some continuity in their coaching staff for a while, and the kids will buy into what's going on, I think they can become competitive really fast. I know there's athletes out there. I just know that the key is that the kids commit and the coaching staff kind of stays together, I think, and if that can happen, then I think good things can happen. I mean, I think that's kind of the difference in Sioux Falls, that at least to a point, is that the coaching staffs have, there's been some change at Washington, there's been some change at Roosevelt, but, there's only been 2 football coaches at Roosevelt in the history of the school. And,
right.
The coach, and the thing about Washington is that it looks like their staff is getting settled in now, and their kids are certainly buying into what they're doing. So, all those things together are really important, and it really breeds the long-term success that we're all trying to gain. And, I really think that, both Rapid City schools are just a sleeping giant, and the right guy at the right time and the right couple classes in a row could turn that thing around forever.
Well, here's the thing. I've mentioned that a lot, and some people don't point to that. I've said, look at the programs that are successful, whether it's Roosevelt, Washington under Coach Hermanson for so long. You look at these programs, O'Gorman under Coach Keeter, even out here in the 11A rank, St. Thomas More, Wayne Sullivan's been there forever. It's the longevity of the coaches, and I ask you, how important really is that in building a program from the bottom up?
Well, I think it's really important. I've coached at 5 different schools, and it's always taken a little time to get things established. And sometimes you have to maybe change the coaching staff and some of the assistant coaches, and sometimes it just takes the right combination of, like when I was in Rapid City, our first 2 years we only won 1 game. And then we got 2 good classes in a row, and we were 6-5, 9-1, just like that. I mean, it just, if you can keep the coach for a while and let them get their thing going, it's going to turn around. I mean, it just needs a couple of good classes in a row of kids that really like what's going on and buy into what's happening. And I hope that their coaching staff will stay together, and I hope they can stay there. And it would be better for everybody if Rapid City schools were competitive every year, and it would make for much better football across the state of South Dakota, I think.
Well, I asked you about the 11 AAA class. When Stevens and Central haven't been competitive, there's not a lot of schools left, and you even look at Aberdeen Central and Watertown, they haven't been really great either. And then it's basically the Sioux Falls schools and Brandon Valley, which we count as a Sioux Falls school basically. Are you getting used to this 11 AAA situation or not?
Yeah, kind of. It's really for us. We still have to play the same teams, and we have to beat the same teams. It's been kind of every year we talk to our players about, not only do we have to play well against the other schools in Sioux Falls area, we might have to beat them twice. to get where we want to go. And that's really been true, that whoever gets to the championship game usually has to we have to beat each other twice during the season to get to the championship game, and that's a challenge, and so I really think that if we can get some balance around the state and the Rapid Cities and the Aberdeens and Watertowns, if the AAA can really raise their level at every school, it's going to make for a much more exciting playoff and a much more competitive season, and everybody will get better, I think, if that happens, and we're really hoping that can happen.
I'll let you run with this. Kim Nelson, head coach of the undefeated Sioux Falls Roosevelt Rough Riders, former coach out here in Rapid City. Who do you have your eye on in AAA? You guys have a target on your backs, it seems like, the last few years, but who do you have your eye on there?
Well, I think Washington is clearly one of the front runners as well. I think they beat a really good Brandon Valley team in Brandon, and I watched the game. It was a great football game, and they both looked really good for their first game of the season, and I think that those two teams are going to be really good down the stretch. I think that Washington's young quarterback, we don't play him till the last game of the regular season, so by then he'll be a veteran. He's really got some athletic ability and throws a good ball. Their sophomore running back is really a tough young kid too. And you give them 8 games under their belt, and now they're playing like juniors and seniors at the end of the season. So, kind of wish we could have played them early, and maybe things would be better. But we've got to keep an eye on ourselves and just make sure that we get better every week. And we've got Lincoln coming up, and then Harrisburg, and then we come out to Rapid City and Brookings. We travel to, so we've got a month coming up that's going to be pretty challenging for us too. And we've just got to make sure we're taking care of business here and try to play one game at a time. I think in the back of our mind, we're thinking Washington and Brandon. We've got both of them late in the season, and those are big targets for us.
Coach Kim Nelson did a nice job out here in Rapid City, and has been at Sioux Falls Roosevelt now, number 1 ranked team right now as they get set for Sioux Falls Lincoln this week. Coach, always good to talk to you. Wish you the best of luck. We'll get you back on.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Kim Nelson tonight. Really appreciate his time from Sioux Falls on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. That's when he was coaching here at Rapid City Central. That's the last time the Cobblers had a great record. Couple of winning seasons there, 6-5 record. Boom, they go 8-1, and that was some good stuff. Not so long ago, and now Kim Nelson, head coach of the number 1 ranked team in South Dakota AAA football, Sioux Falls Roosevelt. They seem like the favorite, but as he said, keep your eye on Washington and Brandon Valley at that level, and my eyes on Stevens and Central. You heard it from Coach Nelson right there. He feels not so far away. They can have some consistency, some numbers in the program, build the depth, get the depth and the size, get the kids out, build the programs. You're starting to see progress, I am anyway, in both of those programs. Not quite turning into enough wins. Everybody wants to win so quickly and make sure, but that is starting to build. It seems that way, and Kim Nelson seems pretty optimistic that Stevens and Central can get to the level of competing game in, game out. Interesting stuff. Appreciate his time. We come back and talk college football. South Dakota Mines head coach Zach Tinker gets his first win as a head college football coach, now trying to get his first conference win in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Hard Rockers put up a lot of points. What was his take on it? And a preview of their matchup coming up down in Utah. We'll talk to Zach Tinker next on SD Sports Buzz tonight.
You want a truck that sounds like that? You want power, performance, and improved fuel economy? Then bring your vehicle to Accelerated Diesel Service, specializing in both diesel and gas service, repair and performance, custom EFI live tuning and custom MCC tuning to get you the best performance and fuel mileage. For personalized service that fits you and your vehicle, bring it to Jared Hathorn and Ben Brown at Accelerated Diesel Service, right behind Mel's Auto Body, 2602 East St. Andrew, just off South Valley Drive from Highway 44 in Rapid City. Phone 391-4797.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Auto Body.
Hi, this is Kevin from Mel's Auto Body. In all my commercials, you will always hear quality and service first. 30 years ago, when my father Mel opened the doors, those were the words that he believed in, and those are the same words that we believe in today. At Mel's Auto Body, we take pride in your investment. We did then, and we still do today. Mel's Auto Body at 1755 South Valley Drive.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body.
Your local Farm Bureau Financial Services agent Tom Berger in Rapid City realizes that farming and ranching is your livelihood, and he understands that. After all, the companies of Farm Bureau Financial Services were originally founded to serve the unique insurance and financial services needs of farmers and ranchers. Contact Farm Bureau agent Tom Berger in Rapid City to learn how he can make it simple to help you select the coverage that's right for you today and provide options for the future of your growing operation.
Call me, Tom Berger, your Farm Bureau agent in Rapid City at 348-3470.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
And welcome back to the broadcast, SD Sports Buzz tonight. Glad to have you a part of the program as always. Nate Brown in the studio at 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's only FM talker, and also online streaming the program. You can watch us at sdsportsbuzz.com at our new YouTube streaming platform. We've got mixed reviews right now. I'll be, quite honest. I'm being upfront and honest for our IT guys. For our IT guys, I got to tell you, mixed reviews on the streaming, and maybe that's because of the product in the stream. I'm not sure, but I'm just telling you, mixed reviews on our new YouTube streaming platform. Go to sdsportsbuzz.com. Let us know what you think about it. I think it's pretty clean. We're trying to go top shelf. Speaking of top shelf, I thought it was a great performance for a home opener football game, and I've been telling you this for quite a while. This isn't your dad or grandpa's South Dakota Mines football. This is high-powered, high points, and a lot of plays. South Dakota Mines football team that puts up 64 points in their home opener this past weekend. They beat William Jewell in their opener, a Division II matchup where the Hard Rockers are now 1-0. Beat William Jewell 64-41, and head coach of the Hard Rockers with his debut wins by 23 points. Zach Tinker, and he joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
I'm awesome, Nate. How about you?
Doing well. I'm doing well. I gotta get your take on just what was going through your mind, Coach. Not that you haven't been around football a long time, but heading out there, first game as head coach of the Hard Rockers, what was going through your mind right away before that thing kicked off?
Just trying to keep our players locked in, focused, and alert. And, my big thing is trying to make sure the players are ready to play and not too amped up one way or the other, And you want them to play with great enthusiasm and energy. But you also want them to play without sort of the anxiety that sometimes goes along with performing on the big stage. And so that was probably the biggest one, trying to find that balance between making sure our kids were loose enough to go out and do their thing because they've been playing this game for a really long time, and they're really good at it, and also that focus so that we're locked in and ready to go.
You seem locked in most of the game. You put up a lot of points, a lot of numbers, but right away, first play of the game, a pick six. I know that's not how you drew it up. What was your reaction to that, starting that way, and then I guess the reaction afterwards? It seems like everybody bounced back pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like an idiot. I mean, it wasn't a very good play call, so I felt like that didn't work out real well. But yeah, it's next play mentality for our guys. We preach that every single day, that no matter what happens on a specific play, the only thing that matters next is the play that we're running next, and not to allow ourselves to get too amped up one way or the other. So we just got right back to work, and Jake responded real well, and we just got back to doing what we do.
I want to tell you the numbers, even though you know the numbers. I want to tell everybody the numbers. Jake Sullivan goes for 258 yards and 5 TDs, 132 yards rushing, and a TD there. That's a heck of a performance by a quarterback as he gets things going. Why was he able to do so many things like that?
Well, Jake's a really good player. I mean, that's the first phase of it, right? I mean, he gets the game and he cares and he does a great job. We have good players around Jake right now. The offensive line, did an awesome job. We ran the ball efficiently and effectively, and then he was protected all day long. So I think it's just a combination of all those things, and then get a little momentum, get a little confidence, and I actually think that the start of the game may have sort of taken some sting out of the whole deal. Like, hey, at this point, you're not going to have a worse start than what we started off with, so let's just go play now and get all the other stuff and put it aside. And I thought that was he just showed great energy and enthusiasm the rest of the day.
Sullivan had a big day. The Hard Rockers with a big win. They're 1-0. Head coach is Zach Tinker, joins us tonight on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line as they get set for their Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference debut on the road down in Utah against Dixie State coming up on Saturday night. One more take on the win over William Jewell. When you looked at that game, playing William Jewell, you've scored a lot of points, and sometimes they've put up a lot of points. It seemed as though they got going pretty good early in the first half. Seemed as though the defense settled down a little bit for you in the second half. What was your grade on the defensive effort overall?
Yeah, there's no question that William Jewell does an outstanding job. They are a high-powered, explosive offense, and they've got some real weaponry on offense, some great speed, and they got us a couple times early. There's no question about it. They hit a couple big plays on us early, and I would say that probably we were trying to kind of gauge the tempo of the game a little bit there early defensively. The game just got kind of loose in the first quarter, but once we settled in, I thought we did some really good things on defense. The thing that we did well was we were able to affect the quarterback and get pressure on him. And he's a good player, and he did a good job. But over time, I thought the accumulation of hits that we got on him sort of changed their vibe offensively, and we kept them from just running the football, and we are a stop the run defense. That's our mentality. We got to stop the run game. And when we made them, I thought at some point sort of their late second quarter and then into the third quarter especially, I thought we turned them into a pretty one-dimensional offense, which is what our plan is. And at that point, I thought we kind of got the game back under control on the defensive side of the ball, so that was a real key for us.
Zach Tinker joining us tonight, head coach of the Hard Rockers, as they're 1-0. They win by 23 points in the home opener this past weekend. Let's talk about this matchup coming up. You've been preparing for it. You've seen Dixie State before. They get into the Yarmac this year on the football side. Last year, you lose at home to them. The year prior, you went down to Dixie State and won on the road. How's this Dixie State team this year? Some of the same customers back. They ran the ball so well last year. What have you been preparing for from the film and the experiences from last year?
Yeah, Dixie State is a good physical football team. They're big. They're really big on the offensive line. They're big on the defensive line. They got good players on the line of scrimmage, and they got some really talented, skilled players that put you under a lot of stress in terms of feeling like you have to cover a lot of grass when they're out there. A little bit different system than they were running a season ago offensively, so you're going to see more of, I would almost call it like it's like a pro-style offense that way. They're doing they're doing a lot of good things offensively in terms of schematics. They sort of they have kind of that wide variety of formations and motions and movement. They do some wildcat. They show you a lot of different looks, so you have to be prepared and alert defensively to match up to all the things they're doing. And defensively, Coach McClure there has always done a really good job of getting his players to play simple, fast, physical football, and they're doing that right now. So really good challenge for us. The two games that we've played against them have both been good affairs that have been kind of back and forth, and both teams having success against each other at times. And so really anxious to get our kids on the road, get on the bus, and head to St. George, Utah. Coach,
I'll let you run with this. You said the RMAC this year is all about matchups, just every week, and that's football to a T. It's about the matchups. How do we match up here and there? With Dixie State, 1-1 the past couple of years, and things change. You tweak things, they tweak things. How do you like the matchup Saturday?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's one of those games that's kind of going to be a clash of styles a little bit. Just sort of, we talk about tempo football offensively. Last week they didn't run a ton of plays, so they're not really trying to push that tempo, or at least they weren't in week one. So that'll be a unique deal. And so for us, I think it's important for us to get off to a quick start. It's important for us to establish some rhythm offensively and see if we can make them defend a lot of plays against us, because I do think we have some good players on offense and some guys who can, what we're trying to do, Nate, is make it so that our best players, they got to go tackle them a bunch of different times, right? And hope that you can, during that process, you can create enough plays that you put up the points that you need to win. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. It's going to be a hot one down there. It's going to be a really good challenge. They had a great crowd at their first game. I was really impressed with the energy and juice of their crowd at their very first game last week at home. So they've had a couple extra days to prepare for us, and so I'm sure they'll have a few wrinkles ready for us, but I know our kids are ready as well.
Dixie State beat New Mexico Highlands 21-14 last Thursday. Hard Rockers beat William Jewell 64-41. Two different styles, two different games there. Both teams 1-0. Head coach of the Hard Rockers, Zach Tinker. Appreciate it, Coach. We'll see you down there.
Right on, Nate. Rock on.
All right, Zach Tinker tonight, 1-0 as head coach of the Hard Rockers in his debut. It was a lot of the same, a lot of high-powered and a lot of points, a lot of high-flying Rocker offense this past Saturday, and they'll try and keep it rolling on Saturday night. St. George, Utah, Dixie State, new stadium down there. It'll be really exciting environment. We'll see if the Hard Rockers can get off to a undefeated start in the RMAC. We come right back and talk to head coach of the Rapid City Stevens Raiders, Scott Hagan, as they get set for the Rushmore Bowl Friday. We'll talk about the Raiders and their matchup against Aberdeen Central coming up next.
Make the mountains your backyard. Make the lake your pool and the night sky your high-definition television. Stop by Dakota Discount RVs today and take a look at our wide variety of new and used fifth wheels, travel trailers, toy haulers, and more. We're sure you'll find something you love at a price you can afford. We take pride in our integrity and service long after the deal, so why pay more for good memories when you can buy with a comfortable, low-pressure, locally owned and operated RV dealer? At Dakota Discount RV, we can make your dreams come true at an affordable price.
3330 East Mall Drive, Rapid City. Your sports, your show. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
This summer, get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruze inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. A quick vacation before school starts. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid. Or maybe even just paying off some bills. However you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is here to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Dale's Tire and Retreading has been providing quality brands of tires and excellent service to the Black Hills area for over 50 years. Dale's Tires sells tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, agriculture, construction, and more. Dale's Tire has what you need when you need it and offers appointment times to get you in and out faster. See the experts at Dale's Tire and Retreading. Two convenient locations in Rapid City, 691 Deadwood Avenue and 3200 Campbell Street. Dale's Tire and Retreading. Looking for a winning team to follow this summer? Check out the Black Hills Unbeatable Tandem of Xerox and the color experts at Matheson's. Hit a home run with the Xerox Workcenter MFP today, and you'll be able to print, copy, and scan your crucial business documents and marketing materials just like the pros do. Matheson's cost per copy program is the safe play every time. You pay nothing up front for the equipment, and the high cost of supplies and repairs become a nightmare of the past. Visit the Matheson's team of Xerox All-Stars at 324 St. Joe Street, downtown Rapid City, or at mathesons.com.
Welcome back to 106.7 FM Kim Talk Radio and SDSportsBuzz.com. SD Sports Buzz tonight presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. Nate Brown in the chair. Looking forward to the rest of the program. Hour number 2 jam-packed with Wayne Sullivan at St. Thomas More, Ben Kramer at Hot Springs. That's a big matchup Friday night. Both coaches coming up with a preview. Rob Sales on tap tonight, head coach over at Central. They'll be in the Rushmore Bowl's second game, taking on Spearfish. We'll talk to Rob Sales coming up. In the first game, it'll be Rapid City Stevens against Aberdeen Central, a 5 o'clock start. And head coach of the Raiders is Scott Hagan back in the program, courtesy of the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well, Nate. Thank you.
How about this game last week? I looked at it, and Sturgis kind of came out, I felt like, as a wounded animal. They got handled and didn't play well at all against St. Thomas More the week prior. I felt that they came out with some energy, kind of battled early on there. Did you think Sturgis had the energy? Did you feel your guys matched that intensity, or did you feel you got off to a little slow start? You ended up handling them really easily, especially as you got into the second half. But what did you think of the start?
I thought we got off slow, and I think a lot of it had to do with, and we talked to the kids all week about this, when they played STM, they had 7 turnovers in the first half. And when they did have the ball, they were able to move it with the fullback, and we told the kids, it's you throw out records each week. It doesn't really matter what the records are. It's a team that comes out ready to play, ready to get after it is going to be the team that jumps on you. And I think our kids were, just had the game film in their mind. We're going to come out and this is going to be an easy win. And they found out they were in a ball game for a little bit and had to bear down a little bit and get after it. But once we did, I thought we were fine.
Did you have to talk to them, Coach, in the certain ways that coaches have to talk to players that sometimes aren't quite mentally in tune during a game? Did you have to make some messages known?
Oh, we didn't have to get after them or anything. We just told them what type of football we expected to be played. And, what do you expect out of yourself is basically what we said. And they have some individual goals and team goals for themselves, and they have a level of playing that they want to play at. So they just, had to refocus a little bit and then get after it.
Raiders get the win 57-21, really pulled away, and it was a solid victory. When you looked at the good things outside of the slow start, I still think it still seems like you're throwing the ball, even though maybe not throwing it a lot, pretty efficiently. What did you think of the balance with your team, especially on the offensive side? Do you like the balance?
Yeah, I think we're a little bit more balanced. We had a good Peyton Oxner had a good game running the ball, and just the way they were playing us, it gave our running game just an edge. And so we just went with what they were giving us, and I think realistically we probably could have ran speed option all night and could have been the only play we could have ran, and we were very successful at it. But our passing game was very efficient. We, our first 2 passes were incompletions, and then George hit 11 for 11 the rest of the game, and just high percentage passes, which we've been working on, and not force the issues and just, read your key and take what the defense gives you, and I think that's why we're very efficient throwing the ball.
Scott Hagan on tonight. The Rushmore Bowl is coming up on Friday at O'Hara Stadium. The Raiders get set to take on Aberdeen Central in the first game at 5. Coach Hagan on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Let's look at Aberdeen Central. They, right out of the gate were competitive with Sioux Falls Roosevelt in their first game. I just had Kim Nelson on, the Roosevelt head coach, moments ago. He said, I think Aberdeen Central defensively may be one of the better teams you'll see. He thought they were darn good defensively, and they had a tough time early on. They ended up winning by 20 over Aberdeen. Then you looked at Aberdeen beating the Cobblers last week by 6. What do you see from film? What do you see from this Aberdeen Central matchup?
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be a game for us. I mean, our kids have to be ready to play. They're big. And they're very quick, and I thought the same thing Kim did when I was watching them defensively. They did a lot of great things against Roosevelt, just had some coverage breakdowns. Otherwise, I think the score was a lot closer than it indicated against Roosevelt. And then last week, you take away from, what the game film was, that they probably had 40-mile-an-hour winds, so you knew the ball wasn't going to be thrown very much, and they're just a physical team that is still I think they're kind of looking for their identity. They run the power game pretty well. I think they're struggling a little bit on spread, but I think that is due to a lot of new faces. But they're going to be a team that by the end of the year is going to be a team you want to avoid.
Is this a physical test for your Rapid City Stevens football team? I mean, sometimes people say, well, Stevens just needs to be more physical. Can they be physical with these East River teams? Is this a physical ground and pound test here?
It is. It's going to be. They're going to line up in some unbalanced formations, and they're huge up front. I mean, they look like the Sioux Falls schools up front right now, and they're going to come at you, and they're going to force you to stop the run. And they have some weapons with their quarterback behind them, very good running back as well. But we have to come out and match that physicality that they're going to bring as well.
Well, you said it. You like running the ball, and Peyton Ochsner's kind of provided that spark plug. You had a great running back in Youngblood. And what about Ochsner? Is he a guy that can turn out yardage in every game you play?
I think so. And one thing a little bit different between Grant and Peyton is Grant was, he could go in between the tackles, was elusive on the edge, but when Peyton gets on the edge, it's, if you don't have an angle on him, he's gone. And so we're going to use him as much as we can on the outside, but he had a couple nice inside runs and broke some tackles. So I think as the year develops, we'll find out more about Peyton, but I know on the edge, he's very explosive.
Scott Hagan on tonight. Rapid City Stevens playing Aberdeen Central. That's a game to watch. A lot of people really interested in how this one is going to go. Raiders trying to move to 2-1. They kick off the Rushmore Bowl at 5 coming up right here on Kim Radio, the live play-by-play on Friday night. Coach Scott Hagan. I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you very much for having me again.
All right, that's Scott Hagan. I appreciate his time giving us a preview of the Raiders and Aberdeen Central Friday night at O'Hara Stadium, a 5 o'clock start of the first game of the Rushmore Bowl. We're going to preview the second game with Central head coach Rob Sales as they get set to take on Spearfish. The Cobblers trying to get that first win. They've been on the verge. They were competitive last week against Aberdeen Central. Can the Cobblers beat 2-0 Spearfish? We'll talk to Rob Sales straight ahead. First, a guy that had a huge first game of the season. Rapid City product. I covered him all his career at St. Thomas More. Now lighting it up in the college ranks, in the NCAA Division II ranks. Jake Sullivan had a huge day. Player of the week type numbers if he didn't have. There was a guy down at Colorado Mines who had 6 touchdowns through the air. Sullivan had 5 and 1 on the ground. Jake Sullivan gets his big first win to start this 2016 season, and he talks about it and also the rest of the season for the Hard Rocker quarterback. Talk to Jake Sullivan next on SD Sports Buzz tonight, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City.
The reason I go to Pro Auto Care is they're always good to me. They've been my mechanics for 6 years. I take it in on a regular basis for the oil changes, things like that. If they find something else wrong with it, they let you know, hey, you're going to need this done, or you might want to consider doing this. It's not a, oh, you need this done now, it's usually you can plan for it. They are the best. Wouldn't trust anybody with my vehicles but Pro Auto Care.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City. Getting you inside South Dakota sports. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body. Get a drive-through estimate or come on in. We're right here under the big red M. Over 30 years our family has put quality and service first. We take pride in making sure you're satisfied. Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body.
Insurance. We all need it to protect our homes, health, businesses, and belongings. But having adequate coverage is just the beginning. You also need the support of professionals who stand by your side to protect what's important to you. Fisher Rounds & Associates combines the coverage you want with the commitment you need. Fisher Rounds & Associates. At your service, at your side. With offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
Welcome back to ST Sports Buzz Tonight, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores for the best prices on groceries in Rapid City. Have you been into Save-A-Lot Food Stores? Specials on meat every day at Save-A-Lot Food Stores. Sale right now on steaks, pork chops, all at Save-A-Lot Food Stores. Check it out, the name brands for the best prices in town on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. ST Sports Buzz Tonight here with Nate Brown, rolling on a Wednesday night. Busy show, and more guests to come as we preview the high school football weekend coming up and the college football weekend here on 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and online streaming at SDSportsBuzz.com. Speaking of the college football weekend, Hard Rockers got off to a really good start. I felt like this past Saturday, put up 64 points on their way to a 23-point victory over William Jewell. Hard Rockers 1-0 now entering Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference play. The RMAC season debut is on the road in St. George, Utah, down south, taking on Dixie State, a team that's also 1-0. Quarterback for the Hard Rockers had a big game this past Saturday. Rapid City St. Thomas More product Jake Sullivan back of the program on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Jake, how are you?
I'm good, Nate. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. I want to get your thought right here, right now. I know what was going through my mind, but I don't need to tell you, but I want to know what was going through your mind. First play of the game, Jake. You're hyped. You're ready to go. First play of the game. Little misdirection, roll out left, throw over the middle, picked off. They take it back for a TD. You can't say certain things on the air, but what was going through your mind there?
I think the first word that came out of my mouth was wow. It was like one of those things where it's kind of like a nightmare almost. It was one of those things where you can almost like dream of it. You don't expect it to happen, and anyone who's in sports, they understand that you can't succeed all the time. And it was one of those times where it was like you had to step back and be like, okay, and it's a long football game. I think it might have taken 15 seconds off the clock, so damn near a whole football game left. And yeah, it was one of those things like right now I can laugh about, but at the time I was just wow, I didn't know what to say.
Does that play like that? I mean, you're a competitor. Knowing you're very competitive. You're usually your composure very good, and you have to be that way as a quarterback. Does a play like that though? How do you not let that get to you right there? How do you not let that really damage your psyche as you got to make a lot of big plays the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think a big part that helps with that is the guys that surround you, and that's something special we have here at School Minds, in my opinion, is not only just the players around us, but the coaches do a good job of not instantly just giving up on someone when something that catastrophic happens. So I had almost every guy on the team come up to me on the sideline after that play and say, "Hey, so what? Stuff like that happens," and move on. And it was funny because Evan Sanders, another quarterback we have, he came up to me and the first thing he said was, "Well, that's not going to be the last one you throw this year." So, all you can really do is just look forward to the next play and just play the way the players and the coaches know you can.
Well, and you did. By the way, I want to point out Jake Sullivan throws for 258 yards and 5 touchdowns and runs for 132 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. Accounts for 6 TDs and a huge game in a 23-point victory in their home opener this past Saturday for the Hard Rockers. How about a game like that where you got to play a lot last year, Jake? You were in, you were out a little bit. You know, it was kind of a rotation for the most part. What was it like being the guy there and being in a flow of a game like that?
Yeah, it was a totally different feeling than last year. I just felt more comfortable, more confident, obviously, just knowing that I was able just to play my game without, worrying about another quarterback coming in or, not the coach not having full trust in me the whole time. Like if last year something like that would have happened, I would have instantly been worried, like, oh, I can't make another mistake now. I want to stay on the field, but if I keep doing this, it just takes you out of your rhythm. And then being like in the situation I'm in this year, it just helps me create such a rhythm and a lot more confidence in myself, and the guys around me feel the same way.
Yeah, I look at it and I think about, if you're in and out like you were last year, that does make a big difference, right? It does being in the game like that do a lot of things for you, just as being the leader of the offense? Does it do a lot of things for you mentally?
Definitely. It lets me be able to play my game without worrying, and it gives me the confidence, like you said, as a leader, just to go out there and just see the defense, see what they give me, and play. I don't have to worry about certain things. There's really no worries right now.
Give me your take on this. You guys put up a lot of points, scored a lot, pretty efficient on offense for the most part throughout the entire game. What did you feel like from your defense? You're worried about the offense. That's your concern. Did you feel like the defense picked it up a little bit, especially after they settled down after that first half?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first half, for me, it was the first play. And the first half of the defense, they just weren't clicking, I felt like. And, they really did pick it up the second half. I don't know, I think they had, 3 to 5 fourth down stops. They did a great job. They forced they had a good quarterback as well. I don't know if you saw his numbers, but he had a good game as well. But they forced him into some tough situations, and they kept giving us the ball back. And when they did, we were able to score.
Let's think about this. We're talking to Jake Sullivan, couple more, and I'll let you run. Quarterback for the Hard Rockers, St. Thomas More, Rapid City product. They're off to a 1-0 start as they get set to take a trip down to Dixie State and St. George, Utah, as you get set to leave tomorrow. How about on the offensive side? I look at all the weapons around you. You had a great game yourself. The offensive line was solid. There was a lot of room to run, whether it was you, whether it was a running back. And then the weapons around you, guys that weren't there all year last year, like Kevin Thompson, your running back, Marcus Sanchez, one of your favorite targets, Rashad Ridley, another wide receiver, made a big play. Those weapons seems like that makes a big difference for you.
Yeah, and it's fun for me, really, because I just get to sit back there and kind of swing it around to anybody, and at any given time, guys can break off a 50, 60-yard touchdown, as you saw on Saturday. It's it's just fun. I don't know how else to explain it. We have so many guys who can hurt teams, and it's got to be tough for defenses to scout us and try to make plans to stop more than one of our playmakers, because, as Coach said, it's a playmaker's paradise, and we have a lot of them this year.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but can you say the offense, right? You've only been through one game. You've been through a lot of practices, but with those players back, and you lost some good ones, lost some guys off the offensive line that are key, but can you say the offense overall seems to be at a higher level?
Yeah, 100%. And the thing with us right now is we're just really comfortable with each other. We mesh really well. We have really good chemistry. We lost a lot on the offensive line, but boy, we didn't really lose much because Robert Schrock, he leads the offensive line with some new faces on there, not many people have seen, and they do a great job. They put their heads in there and they make plays for us, and they open up holes, and they give us time to do what we need to do to score points.
I'll let you run with this. You ran it, I don't want to say maybe a lot, but quite a bit. It was a high average. You had 132 yards on the ground and a touchdown. You got loose quite a bit, and you were able to throw efficiently through for a lot of scores, a lot of yards. When you get set for a game like Dixie State, you might be able to do that, but guys are going to be locking you in. They're going to be trying to lock you down. Is there any concern for you trying to, maybe keep your head on a swivel, being the quarterback, trying to figure out what's the right balance here, pass and throw?
Yeah. For me, the thing is I'm going to be able to go out there with a lot of our plays where we're able to decide pre-snap if I personally want to run the ball or if I'm going to hand it off or if I'm going to try to take a shot downfield, And what Coach Dink really preaches is just, hey, play it how you see it. He knows we're all playmakers and he knows we're capable of making big plays, but just do what the defense gives us and not try to make too many big plays, and the play will come.
So you're not worried about being out there, body out there for a target as you take off and run quite a bit at this level? Not too worried about getting banged up? I mean, there's going to be some guys taking shots.
Yeah, actually, one thing I do need to work on a little more is getting out of bounds and just getting down. I don't need to take a free shot for an extra few yards. Like the type of player I am, I'm really competitive, and I like to, I'm going to put my body out there and try to make the best play I can. But sometimes you just got to, like I was saying, take what the defense gives you, and maybe you slide a few times, and not take so many big shots if I want to be able to finish the whole season out.
Hey, by the way,
in this conference,
Coach didn't tell me to say that. I'm just trying to help you out a little bit. All right, I'm a seventh coach in the background. You just got maybe slide a little bit. All right, it's not a problem to slide. Huge game for you. Congrats. It was a great way to start. Looking forward to watching this upcoming game on Saturday. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks, Nate.
All right, Jake Sullivan tonight. St. Thomas More quarterback, had a great high school career. Went out to Northern State initially, transferred over to South Dakota Mines, becoming an engineer on the academic side, and now the starter, Rapid City guy. For the Hard Rockers, is they're 1-0 as they go to St. George, Utah, Saturday. I'll be there down in Utah. I will be there. It's going to be a warm one. I think they said 102 for a high on that Saturday. The game's not till 6 p.m. Still going to be a little warm. We'll see if the Hard Rockers can move to 2-0. Very tough duty against a team that has a lot of athletes at Dixie State down there. Should be interesting. See if the Hard Rockers can get it going under Jake Sullivan, as he had a huge game this past weekend. Let's come back into the high school scene. We'll talk to Jake's dad, by the way, who is the head coach at St. Thomas More. Wayne Sullivan coming up. And first, Ben Kramer from Hot Springs. How good can this Hot Springs team really be? Their biggest test coming against St. Thomas More on Friday night. We'll talk to the head coach of the 2-0 Hot Springs Bison, Ben Kramer, about the matchup against the Cavaliers. That's next.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
Paying 200, 2 1/4, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, 50, want to get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
How would you like to have your crown in 2 hours instead of 2 visits? Hi, this is Dr. Eldon Rice with Rice Area Dental in Rapid City. Technology is changing, and at Rice Area Dental, we are keeping up by using the latest state-of-the-art equipment. We offer crowns in hours instead of days. No more temporaries, no more multiple visits, no messy dental impressions, just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
And we're back on SD Sports Buzz tonight. It's Nate Brown on 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and online streaming at SDSportsBuzz.com. Welcome you in wherever you may be listening or watching the program. Coming up, Wayne Sullivan, St. Thomas More head coach, as the Cavaliers get set to host Hot Springs. Big matchup of the Black Hills Conference in the early part of the season, and a matchup I really am looking forward to Friday night at St. Thomas More. as I said it early on this program that Hot Springs is going to be a team to watch. Everybody talks about St. Thomas More, and rightfully so, over the years of being very, very good. And we've seen that team that's always been very competitive with them. They've gotten them back in the day, not so long ago, and they've been right there with them over the years. Really the team that's been the most consistent in the Black Hills Conference outside of St. Thomas More has been Hot Springs. And their head coach is Ben Kramer, who's done a nice job down there. He's back for more, and his team is 2-0. Impressive win out at Lennox. Then they beat Douglas by 2 touchdowns this past week, and now they play St. Thomas More, a battle of unbeatens. Coach Ben Kramer joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you, Nate?
I'm doing good. I want to get your take from your perspective here, Coach. You've been there now for a while. You've done a nice job. You had a lot of winning teams, a winning program. Going into this year, what has been your expectations for this crew? I think sometimes you guys maybe get overshadowed by the state and everybody looking at St. Thomas More out of the Black Hills Conference. What was your expectations for this crew?
This is a good group for us. A big group of seniors. They've been together for a long time, close friends, and, that stuff's important. When you get a group that comes up through elementary together, through middle school, kind of get whooped on as freshmen and start seeing a little playing time as sophomores and juniors. And, these guys are excited for their senior year.
I want to get your take on, do you think you get enough respect or maybe get overlooked over the past few years?
We don't worry about that. We're just little Hot Springs in the southwest corner of the state, and we just kind of do our thing. A lot of bulletin board talk or material comes out of the east side of the state, and we just kind of do our thing. And come playoff time, they tell us where to go play, and we just go play.
I don't know if this makes a difference for you, but I think it does, and I've played football for a long time too. Is this St. Thomas More Hot Springs game a rivalry? Is there a different feeling around this one?
I think it is. When I first got here, there were some other teams that they circled on the calendar, and I think we've instilled it into the kids' heads that, all roads are going to go through STM. You got to get past STM to reach your goals, and I think the kids have bought into that, and that's my thinking. I mean, this is the game I look forward to. I think we've beat every other team in the conference, and I think we've got more one time. So this is my motivation, this game, and I think that carries over to the rest of the coaches and the rest of the team, and kind of into the community as well.
Is it because St. Thomas More has won? Is that it? Why the extra emphasis on this matchup Friday night?
Oh, absolutely. They've done the things that we're trying to do, and Coach Sullivan, the things that he's done with those teams that's what we're trying to do. And it goes back to the old saying: to be the best, you got to beat the best, and they've consistently been the best team out west.
I look at your team right now. You get a huge win on the road at Lennox. Lennox was a playoff team last year that beat St. Thomas More, and I know they lost some players, but that was an impressive win by you, Coach. And then you come back and beat Douglas by 2 touchdowns, a Douglas team that I don't know how to describe them. They're scrappy. They never quit. They really do. I mean, they may not have some of the biggest talent sometimes, but Coach Maciejczak does a nice job, and they're going to play all the way through, and you win that one. What's been your evaluation the first couple of weeks of your team?
Well, I really liked the first win, the long road trip to Lennox. And we've been notorious for, not being real good out of the gates. And the kids got off the bus, and they really put it to them. I think we were up, 21-0, 5 minutes into the game, and I just don't think Lennox had anything to throw at us to recover from that deficit. And, I think that's probably our second win since I've been here. I get opening game, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal for all of us. It's a big deal for this program to get that monkey off our back. And it sure makes for a long bus trip home a lot easier.
No doubt. That was a great way to start. What did you think of last week? I don't know what I thought when I looked at that. I didn't expect you to necessarily blow out Douglas because, as I said, Douglas is always there. They're better than people think, even though they're not maybe going to turn too many heads throughout the year. But I think they might surprise a few people as far as just how competitive they are. Did you think you played well last week?
No, I don't think we did. And a lot of that was because Douglas played us real tough. When you meet with your team after the game and they're looking at you, and, you know, a lot of us it felt like a loss. And the kids thought so, and the coaches thought so. It wasn't a real good showing. We were undisciplined, and we left some points on the field. We missed some all the things that you got to do to play a bad game. But we didn't play as well as we did that first week.
Couple more, and I'll let you run. Ben Kramer joins us tonight, Hot Springs head coach. They're 2-0, team I've been talking about here as the team I think that's going to be the most competitive with St. Thomas More, no doubt, in the Black Hills Conference, and that game is Friday night. So I look at you guys. Is this about physical play Friday night? Is that every game I've covered between Hot Springs and St. Thomas More is physical? That's what you want to try and set the tone. Is that the same story? We're not going to see any surprises from Ben Kramer, are we?
No, we don't do that. We're that's our deal, man. We're physical. We have physical kids. We're old school football. We're going to pound it at you, and we know what STM is going to do, and they know what we're going to do, and whoever figures the other team out is going to win the game.
Big plays are something that St. Thomas More is capable of. Preston Arity's a great quarterback, I feel. Jake Andrews, one of the fastest guys out there. What worries you with St. Thomas More?
The big play. It's the team speed. You can look at a state track meet and see who's going to be good in football. And, year in, year out, whatever Benson's doing with those kids and Sully's just reaping the benefits of that. You have to shut down the big play. You have to be disciplined. Little mistakes in this game will kill you, and that's what we've been hounding on this week. Is read your keys, do your job. Don't try to be a superhero. Make a tackle, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
So
mistakes can be magnified. I've seen that in games like this, whether it's St. Thomas More or a team trying to play a number one ranked team. Mistakes are magnified, and I let you run with this. Does this crew? You said this is a good group, a lot of seniors. You've got some returning players, obviously. Does this group mentally think? Because that's part of the battle. Sometimes teams are beat before they even get on the field. Is this mentally a strong group going into Friday night, thinking this is a game we can win?
I think we've had the mental capability of beating a team probably the last 3-4 years. I think we've turned that corner where these kids think they can win just about any game. I think a lot of that comes back from that the West Central loss a few years ago in the semis. They think that they can beat anybody in the state, and that's kind of what we've been building for. And if you have a bunch of kids that think like that, they're great to coach and they're fun to coach.
Coach, I look forward to it. Friday night, always a great matchup, and sometimes we don't see it. There's some blowouts out here. On you guys are a part of those on the winning side. St. Thomas More is a part of those in certain games too. Look forward to this one, Coach. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, Nate.
All right, Ben Kramer does a nice job down there. He's been doing it for quite a while. He's been doing it for quite a while. I never like saying a long time because I don't want to we're not old. I mean, people say I've been broadcasting for a long time. I mean, I'm not old. Come on, let's be careful here. But Ben Kramer's done a nice job down in Hot Springs building that program as they get set to take on St. Thomas More. We'll get a preview from the Cavaliers side next. Head coach of the Cavaliers, Wayne Sullivan, joins me next on SD Sports Buzz tonight.
You've got it locked on South Dakota's sports talk show, SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters. Your local Farm Bureau Financial Services agent Tom Berger in Rapid City realizes that farming and ranching is your livelihood, and he understands that. After all, the companies of Farm Bureau Financial Services were originally founded to serve the unique insurance and financial services needs of farmers and ranchers. Contact Farm Bureau agent Tom Berger in Rapid City to learn how he can make it simple to help you select the coverage that's right for you today and provide options for the future of your growing operation.
Call me, Tom Berger, your Farm Bureau agent in Rapid City at 348-3470.
Make the mountains your backyard. Make the lake your pool and the night sky your high-definition television. Stop by Dakota Discount RVs today and take a look at our wide variety of new and used fifth wheels, travel trailers, toy haulers, and more. We're sure you'll find something you love at a price you can afford. We take pride in our integrity and service long after the deal, so why pay more for good memories when you can buy with a comfortable, low-pressure, locally owned and operated RV dealer? At Dakota Discount RV, we can make your dreams come true at an affordable price.
3330 East Mall Drive, Rapid City.
This summer, get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruze inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. A quick vacation before school starts. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid. Or maybe even just paying off some bills. However you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is here to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Dale's Tire and Retreading has been providing quality brands of tires and excellent service to the Black Hills area for over 50 years. Dale's Tires sells tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, agriculture, construction, and more. Dale's Tire has what you need when you need it and offers appointment times to get you in and out faster. See the experts at Dale's Tire and Retreading. 2 convenient locations in Rapid City, 691 Deadwood Avenue and 3200 Campbell Street. Dale's Tire and Retreading. Real South Dakota sports talk for real South Dakota sports fans. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters. Listen to what Pro Auto Care customers have to say.
You definitely can trust Tom and Carl and Chris. They are very good mechanics. They always do what's best for their customers and their customers' vehicles. They will always let you know the problems completely before they do any work on your vehicle. And since I've met Tom, I won't take my car anyplace but Pro Auto Care.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City.
When it comes to protecting your home and your belongings, what works for your neighbor most likely won't work for you. Insurance is personal, and that's why the coverage specialists at Fisher Rounds & Associates work with you to tailor a policy that protects your family, home, auto, and other valuable possessions at the most reasonable cost possible. We sweat the small and the big stuff, so you don't have to. That's at your service, at your side. Fisher Rounds & Associates, with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Watertown.
And we're back on SD Sports Buzz tonight. Glad you're a part of the program. Nate Brown on board. And a lot of great guests tonight. I appreciate everybody's time as we continue to roll through it. And remember, if you miss anybody live tonight, we've had some great guests so far and more to come. If you miss any of these interviews live, go to sdsportsbuzz.com tomorrow. All the interviews archived right there. You can listen to each interview at your own convenience. Pick out the ones you want. Very easy to do and a great way to do it, sdsportsbuzz.com. All those interviews will be posted there tomorrow. Rolling through 106.7 FM Kim Talk Radio, and looking forward to a Friday night matchup. St. Thomas More at home against Hot Springs, a battle of 2 undefeated teams. And it's a game I circled going into the year, as I felt Hot Springs was going to be pretty darn competitive. And they've started out great. St. Thomas More I've put at the top as well in the Black Hills Conference, and they've started out 2-0. Head coach of the Cavaliers, Wayne Sullivan, back on. Coach, how are you?
Doing fantastic, Nate.
I look at this past game. You make the long trip out to Aberdeen-Roncalli, get down, but then it was all, really, I felt all St. Thomas More. Their early start anyway of an interception and things like that. What did you think of the way your guys has kind of rebounded and I felt controlled the game pretty well for the most part?
Well, that's one of the things you always have a question mark for your team, what kind of character do they have. And, we did come out first series kind of almost reminiscent of Hard Rockers. Rolls out to his left, throws off his back foot, throws an interception down in our territory, and then we have to hold them out. And I thought our defense slowed their neck, did a great job. And then all of a sudden after that, I think that kind of got us going. We got off the bus, kind of got our offense and our defense just kept us in the game the whole day. So very excited with how our boys responded.
Did you feel like you were, in control for the most part after the, like that first interception? Did you feel like the game went really well for you? What were things that you pointed out maybe you could do better, though?
Well, again, I'll commend our defense. They really stepped up and did a great job for us. And I thought they really flew to the ball and gave us the momentum back. As always, as a coach, there's always things to work on, as you know. And I think every week, I think our offensive line is gelling together and getting better. As again, we only returned one starter, so we have 4 new linemen that are doing very well so far. But if they can get better each week, that's when good things are going to follow.
Wayne Sullivan on tonight, St. Thomas More head coach. They just beat Aberdeen 28-6. Cavaliers are 2-0, getting set to host Hot Springs. What was the takeaway from this game, confidence-wise? I mean, I look at your schedule, Coach, and you're going to take every opponent serious, and I understand that, but this game was one of those that kind of people looked at, the Aberdeen-Roncalli game, saying, hey, you got to go on the road. Roncalli's pretty darn good 11B team, and they've been really good over the years. Did this give you a boost coming out of there?
Well, it did answer a lot of questions. One, can we play on the road? And 2, can we defend a good running team with some very good athletes? So I was very impressed with how we responded to that. And it was a measuring game for us. And again, knowing that we had Hot Springs following Aberdeen, who, again, is going to be very big, very athletic, got great seniors. I think that helped us going into this game. But Hot Springs is as loaded as I've seen them in a few years.
Well, I'll tell you, Ben Kramer had the same thing to say about you at St. Thomas More. What Ben Kramer just said, head coach at Hot Springs, said, we're just, trying to get to the level of St. Thomas More. We're trying to do what they do. What do you say to that?
Well, that's a great compliment, but I got to tell you what, Kramer's done wonders there, and he's got those boys playing hard every day, every year, and they give us one of our best games just because of the way he gets them prepared.
He said this is a rivalry game. I asked him, is this a rivalry game for Hot Springs? And he said it really is. Is this one of those rivalries for you?
Oh, definitely. As we told our team this week, they were the last ones to beat us in the conference and take away the conference title from us. And, they do. They bring us their A game every year, and we have got to be ready or they're going to smack us right in the mouth.
I pointed out that Hot Springs is a team that kind of gets overshadowed a little bit because of all your success. You guys have won the Black Hills Conference. You've been at state. You've been at the Dome so many times. Hot Springs maybe gets overshadowed. Nobody's really talking about them. When you look at this Hot Springs team, you mentioned a little bit they have certain things going for them. What's really the big thing with this Hot Springs team right here?
Well, I can give you 3 names right off the top of my head: Nadigal, Harkless, and Majeski. Those 3 are talented athletes. Good leaders, been starting for a few years, and every year they seem to get better and bigger. And again, their front line is big. Their defense flies to the ball, as evident by only allowing 6 points to Lennox and 7 to Douglas. This team is loaded, and I told our team this is probably the best Hot Springs team I've seen in many years.
Very interesting. How about this? Homecoming for you, Coach. It's homecoming for the Cavaliers. Well, what's the deal there? Normally you're trying to get an easy game for homecoming. What's the deal?
Well, that was strictly for scheduling for everybody else in the school. The only weekend we didn't have somebody else out of town, so I got to try and make the student body happy. So unfortunately, that it fell on this weekend. But again, that could give us a little bit of juice we might need because the only thing that's successful in a homecoming week is winning on Friday night.
Coach Kramer thought you did it on purpose. No, he didn't. I'm just kidding. All right, I'm just kidding. I don't want to get that rumor started. No doubt about that.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hot Springs is physical. They have been over the years. This is where you said it at the beginning of the year. We want to be physical all season long. You go back to that Lennox game. We want to be a physical team. Is this going to be that test right here to show you?
Exactly. And you're right. I did the same thing. I circled this game on our schedule knowing what they were going to bring back, knowing what Kramer does. And this is going to be our true test of not only our physical toughness, but our mental toughness.
Friday night, St. Thomas More 2-0 at home against Ben Kramer and Hot Springs. They are also 2-0. A game to watch in the Black Hills Conference on Friday. Head coach of the Cavaliers, it's Wayne Sullivan. How about your son's game? I got to ask you about that. It's a little side question every week. You weren't able to watch it, but pretty nice performance by Jake on Saturday.
Well, I will tell you this. We did have internet on the bus, so I watched the first half on my iPad. After the first play he did, I bopped through the iPad out the bus. But he was able to respond, and I knew he would. And, he's been telling me every day how practice is going. Very proud of him and the team, and I wish them the best of luck when they go up to Dixie State.
I could see you gyrating, I'm sure. You were probably a little loose after the first pick six. So you were probably a little upset. I could see that. But fortunately, after that, he threw a lot of balls well and did very well. Is it tough for you, Coach? I mean, I know you love being a high school football coach, and you've got more kids coming up, younger kids in your family. Is it tough being, the Cavaliers coach, and you're going here and you're going there, and not seeing Jake play maybe in certain games?
It is. It's very hard, very tough. I know I got a job to do, and I love what I do. And I always try and make family first, so I'm going to make as many games as I can of his. Hopefully maybe a couple on the road, leave after our Friday night game. But I am blessed with 5 kids, and I've got a daughter as a freshman now playing volleyball, and my Jed, who's a 7th grader, and John Paul playing in the Hard Rocker Flag Football League. So, I've got a lot of things left, hopefully, and can enjoy every one of them.
Coach, good luck. Look forward to the matchup on Friday. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nate.
All right, Wayne Sullivan tonight on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. St. Thomas More, Hot Springs. I've covered a lot of those games over the years. Always a great one for a broadcaster because, sometimes we get these, we call them in the business cream puffs, just flat, airy, not a lot of substance, not healthy, I think a lot of those games that broadcast, it seems like St. Thomas More, Hot Springs over the years has been always very good. It's always been very competitive. Good football, and Hot Springs has always maybe surprised St. Thomas More a little bit. Just not the coaches at St. Thomas More or anything like that, but maybe just surprised some of the people outside looking at that game of how competitive each year usually Hot Springs is. And I think it's going to be pretty darn competitive on Friday night. You heard my pick, though, at the beginning of the program. I made my picks for the 4 featured games in my high school football picks, and I did take St. Thomas More over Hot Springs. And I think it'll be double digits there, close to 2 touchdowns. That was my prediction. So we'll see how it turns out. Look forward to it on Friday. Coming back with Rob Sales. Rapid City Central trying to get that win. They've been close. They were very close at Aberdeen Central last week. Rob Sales now playing Spearfish, a Spartan team that kind of surprises people. They shut out Belfouche, then they shut out Pine Ridge. So Rapid City Central definitely a harder schedule to this point. Can the Cobblers beat Spearfish? They weren't able to do it last year. We'll talk to Rob Sales. Get his thoughts next.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
Paying 200, 2.25, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, 50, money get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
How would you like to have your crown in 2 hours instead of 2 visits? Hi, this is Dr. Eldon Rice with Rice Area Dental in Rapid City. Technology is changing, and at Rice Area Dental, we are keeping up by using the latest state-of-the-art equipment. We offer crowns in hours instead of days. No more temporaries, no more multiple visits, no messy dental impressions, just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
And we're back on SD Sports Buzz tonight, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores for the best prices on groceries in Rapid City. Get into Save-A-Lot Food Stores, all the name brands you want for the best price in town. Save-A-Lot Food Stores, East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. Nate Brown back on the air on 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and online at sdsportsbuzz.com. You can stream the program right there and listen to all the interviews from tonight's show. They'll be archived tomorrow at sdsportsbuzz.com. Complete rundown of the upcoming football weekend continues with the Rushmore Bowl preview. We talked to Scott Hagan earlier, Rapid City Stevens head coach. They play the first game against Aberdeen Central. The second game Friday night at O'Hara Stadium will be Rapid City Central and Spearfish. Head coach of the Cobblers is Rob Sales back on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing all right tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I always appreciate the energy you bring to this program, all right? I always appreciate that because whenever I get tired, I take a little Diet Mountain Dew and just get Rob Sales on the program, and you bring some energy. Here's the deal. You lose by 6 last week out at Aberdeen Central, 18-12. I felt like that, from the surface, just looking at it on paper, looking at it from the outside, that was a competitive game against a pretty quality team. Moral victories are tough. You don't want to discuss them. What was your take on that tough 6-point loss for your team last week?
Well, our guys, you can always pull the positives out. That's what we always tell them. Hey, we're going to pull the positives out. We're going to focus on that. We're going to learn from the negative things that cost us that we can improve on. Good things out of the last week. We finally broke the goose egg. We got goose egg that first week. This past week against Aberdeen Central, we got on the scoreboard, so that's good. Another thing, we were able to run some plays that we were a little tentative about. We showed that we could execute them. The biggest thing that we got out of that was our kids are playing hard, man. I mean, it's rough to be against the ropes 2 weeks in a row and just having a slugfest, and that's what we had against OG and then against Aberdeen Central. They're a dang good ball club. They're coached hard. They play hard. They got some big kids. They got talented kids. So when you're sitting there and you're going back and forth with series and, you're punting, you're holding them, you're doing this, that, and another, and, the kids are battling, we'll take that. And that's what we're going to focus on because that's what's going to get you through the ball games. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter how talented your team is, you're not going to be in a competitive game. If your kid doesn't have heart, if they're not going to go fight 48, if they're not going to play 48 minutes, if they're not going to play for their teammates, it's going to be a rough Friday night. But right now, those kids are playing hard. Their heads aren't hanging, and they know the last 2 weeks it's just execution of biting them, and they understand that that's what they got to fix.
How about this? I look at you guys last year, and it feels different to me this year, even though you still have the same record as you did last year. At this time, you're 0-2. How much different does it feel this year for you? Is there a difference?
There's a huge difference. When we started last year, we opened with OG over there. They beat us by 40-some points. We go into Aberdeen, we're thinking, okay, let's get this thing righted last year. we give up, I think it was 49-48 final or something like that. Yeah, you put some points on the board, but you also gave up quite a few points. So there was quite a few things that we were trying to fix and still kind of put together so those boys can be in a competitive atmosphere and get some things done. This year, our defense has held their teams to 18 and 19 points. You know, yeah, we haven't put some points on the board. Yeah, we've done some penalties that have pulled some points off the board, but that's what you're going to do. They always say defense is going to win you championships. Yes, it is, because as long as you score more points than what you give up, at the end of the game, you win. You know, it's pretty easy math that way. And the boys are playing terrific together. That's our number one stress. You've got to be in this battle together. If you try to go into a game 0-2 and you're fragmented and your kids aren't sticking together, bad things are just going to continue to happen. The snowball effect happens, and things just get bad in a hurry. Right now, our kids are playing well together. They have each other's backs. They're not chipping. There's a lot of positive stuff that we can pull out of these things. So last year compared to this year, 0-2, way different team, way different chemistry. You know, things are clicking with those boys, and good things are going to start to happen.
Rob Sales on tonight, talking Rushmore Bowl Friday. They're in the second game, 8 o'clock approximately start time against Spearfish. A couple more, and I'll let you run here. Head coach of the Cobblers on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Offensively, though, it seems like you said, you're not executing, big penalties, calling back touchdowns. Offensively, you have some concerns there, or what?
Well, the biggest thing I'm thinking when we're watching film, when we're talking to the kids, is they still have some question marks. And if the kid has a question mark when it comes down to Friday night, then that becomes a coaching issue. That means somewhere along the lines you did not execute well enough to get the question answered in practice to make sure that situation is taken care of, and they've already seen it before Friday happens. And so when you're pulling a kid off, they're already in the heat of the moment of everything and all that stuff. They need to have already seen it. And so we need to make sure those questions are answered.
I look at this matchup, Coach. I look at this matchup, Spearfish. I would argue they maybe surprised you a little last year. They had some athletes on that team. They didn't have a great season overall, but they did have some athletes that could do some things. I would argue maybe they surprised some of your players last year. Is that going to happen again this year? You look at Spearfish, they haven't had a strong opponent schedule, but they're 2-0. They haven't allowed any points. What do you think of this matchup Friday?
Well, here's what I told the kids. You know, hey, you can look at Spearfish, and you can look at classification, and you can look at who's played who, and you can play that game. But what it comes down to it is those boys are coming into town 2-0, riding high, and having great confidence. I don't care who they played. They're 2-0. We're 0-2. Okay, they got us last year. They already have confidence. Okay, now what are you going to do? I say we prepare for every game like we're playing a state championship game. It does not matter who the opponent is. All that matters is what they run in the X's and O's. Don't pay attention to that record. Don't pay attention to what their school size is. Don't pay attention to that thing, because when it comes down to it, X's and O's, execution. That's what's going to win you a football game. And so, yeah, last year, did they catch us a little bit? Yes. Those athletes took advantage of the opportunity they had, and they beat us. Those Spearfish boys, they beat us. This year, those kids, they still feel last year. So I don't think that they're going to be caught off guard. Tonight with Nate Brown.